All right, joining me now is Josiah Harrell. He's outside his gym in the car. You got some sessions coming up today, man. It's a crazy week. It's been a crazy week for you. It's past 7 days have been a little different than I would say any UFC debutant except one has really experienced. So for you, I guess how first and foremost, man, how are you doing?
Um, Everything's coming together. I mean, it's a little off. I'm still trying to figure out my emotions with it, but for the most part, I've kind of just been like, I knew something was up with me. um, I won't say my whole life, but I knew I was a little off. Still wrapping my head around it, but other than just getting everything together, it hasn't just been a wild week. It's been a wild month, um, with just things going through the cage, just different things. But more than anything, I'm grateful to be able to look through and see what I've done through my past and see what I've done and been like, oh, that could have been it. That could have been it. That could have been it. So it just made me a little bit more grateful for life.
Yeah, and for people, if somebody doesn't know what's going on with you and they're living under a rock or something and they didn't see that the headlines, I guess I can sit here and give play by play of what we heard and whatever, but for you, can you just kind of bring me through that week? I mean, you got the UFC phone call on Sunday, right? And then can you just kind of tell me
Mhm.
what happened after that?
Yeah, so we got the call on Sunday, but we were hearing that he may or may not have an opponent. So our management company hit me up. First thing I did is check my weight. I was like, ooh, 215. I was like, okay, well, we're cool. We'll do whatever we need to do. So that was the first thing. Checked our weight, did everything. I just started running then. I just started running. I was like, I'm gonna have to get my weight down. I'm gonna do this. Sunday comes along. I'm about 197, 196. Um, and I'm still running, still doing whatever I need to do. And I was mid interview, and that's when everybody's going, "Hey, you're in! Hey, you're in!" So I'm trying to read what this guy's or trying to listen to what this guy's saying, and I'm like, I'm all over. I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? So then he's asking me questions, and I'm trying to read, and I'm just like, all right, I don't even know, dude. Apparently, I was telling him, I was like, apparently, I might have a fight this week. But even then, I can't tell you how excited I am. Like, people are gonna like during fight week, all people could say is you're insane. It's like, no, I want to push myself. It's like insane is just because I want, just because you're scared or you have fear of losing. It's like doesn't mean it's like I do. It's like I still care, but bottom line, it's like I want to push myself. I want to be good. At the end of this, it's like this or me being undefeated. It's not going to matter. It's what I get out of this sport, and I'm going to get everything I can. Um, so that goes along so many shit talkers, and it's kind of my fault more than anything because beforehand I was like, I don't got haters until, and then I spoke that into existence. The moment that happened, that they just came out the woodwork, and that made me smile more than anything. My coaches just told me not to respond, so I waited for uh, the everything to be dealt with before I started responding to everybody and just saying thank you and doing all that. So that's going along, and then fight week we drive into Las Vegas. I'm probably about a buck 83, 84. I want to say we get into Las Vegas, and we find the good thing they had the PI, so we immediately get into the PI. We do our stuff. We need to do that. Absolutely beautiful. Um, I'm like, oh, this is. They had everything. I'm like, this is amazing. So I'm over there just walking and walking around. Meet Shaquan Barkley. I believe that's his name. I hope I'm not butchering it. He's a fucking unit. I'm like, he was super nice. He's like, dude, you're a G, and talk to him. So that dude was dope. Everybody else there was dope. It's like there's people just like pretty much just giving me congrats and everything. I'm just like, I appreciate it, boss. I knew I was gonna be here no matter what, and I do believe in my skill set, my abilities. But I was just happy to be there. We get through that workout, and then this is when shit just hits the fan. Um, Medicals Wednesday. Just we spent the whole from when we got up to about 12 doing medicals, doing uh, PR stuff or media day stuff. So it was like the whole day, whole half day till about 1. It was nothing but PR stuff. We got a guy outside the gym looking into it. I'm not gonna bother with him. But we spent the whole day doing blood work. We spent the whole day going and getting an MRI, getting a physical, just getting everything we need so this week can go by smoothly. On top of that, I had to fill out all these questionnaires and all this question stuff for USADA. I had to do I don't even. They barely know I can read, but we got it done. They sent me videos and picture books, so I'm gonna thank them. But the busy day wasn't the just the cutting weight. The busy day wasn't just the medicals. The busy day wasn't just trying to take care of all this USADA stuff so we can get the fight going. The busy was me still needing to lose weight, me still like wrapping my head around like, is this real? Is this not? And then just being able to see Las Vegas, being able to see the PI, being able to see all these people that I've looked up to and I've studied and I've taken things from, and it just kept adding on and kept adding on and kept adding on. That was the busy day. The busy day wasn't one thing or another. It was just everything coming together. So that was Wednesday. Thursday comes along, and I believe we only had to do my eye test. So we get our eye test done. We do all this. I go get a sweat in, go at the PI, come back, and they tell me I might need to get a new MRI or something. Something came up blurry, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, hell no. I was in the MRI and they're scanning me, and I know I didn't move. I didn't even fart. I didn't move an inch. So I'm like, there's no way this scan was blurry. It's like, first thing I came up to my mind was like, I got something wrong with my head. I went worst case scenario immediately. I was like, I probably got cancer. I'm like, okay, well, we'll figure it out. So we didn't get into we had to get rushed to the PI. It was either Friday or not PI, but back to the desert place, desert radiology, something like that, to go back and get an EKG scan. Which that thing was cool. It was like a little thing just circling around your head, and they put this shit in your system, and it goes warm from the top of your head all the way down to your ass crack, all the way down to your toes. And I'm like, okay. So that made me sweat a little bit. But once we got that done, the nurse came by and I was like, everything okay? And she was, bless her heart, she was like, oh yeah, everything's completely fine. I looked at the doctor. The doctors were staring at the screen, not looking at me. I'm like, oh shit, I got something wrong with me. So I was already on that, and I didn't think that it was enough to stop the fight just because UFC hasn't called beforehand or just didn't show up. So we still did what we need to do when it comes to like cutting weight and getting the weight. And as soon as we make weight and do all that, I'm just happy to be there. As you can see, smiles on my face. Get there, start rehydrating. I go. No, maybe it was after that. See, the whole fucking weekend was a blur. I want to say I took a nap, and then I woke up from my nap. They woke me up, rushed me somewhere. I can't even remember there. It's probably the desert place. And then pretty much just told me, hey, dude. He's like, bad news. I'm like, cool, let me pee first. So I go, I pee, come back. And looking around, I was like, y'all are way too sad. Like, what's the bad news? And Maurice and them are pretty, we're pretty close when it comes to just everything in general. So they just cut it to me. They're like, no shits and giggles. You're not fighting. I go, you fucking with me? He goes, no. And I go, okay, why? And then he started telling me about it. And I'm like, everything is still just circling around my head. As you can hear when I'm talking, I'm like still kind of all over the place when it comes to just my thinking about it. But all I can say is I'm blessed, and we did what we could to try to fight, and I think the UFC knows that. So if we get a chance to get back in there sooner or later, we are. I think they said about 14 months was the last time. Vince, which we'll be connecting with him as well. Talk to him, ask him some questions, but I think it was the last time that's how long it took him to heal. So hopefully we can get in there and get out. I wanna still push for December. I know I've been saying this since the beginning of the year in January, but if we can get our debut, even though we're technically already in the UFC, it's like if we can get our debut by December, I'll be shits and giggles for the rest of my life. If not, that's okay. We'll figure out another day. But I don't know why, but I feel like it's going to be a quick turnaround for us.
Yeah, and for people that don't know, they ended up finding something pretty rare called Moymoya, and it's funny
Yeah.
because when Maurice called me and he started telling me about that, I was in my head was like, I've definitely heard of this. Why have I heard of this? And it was because I had done some stories on Vince Murdoch. For people that don't know, he had the same thing,
Yeah.
getting onboarded in 2019, goes to do his first UFC fight, and this comes up on his brain scan. So, I guess you mentioned earlier, like you thought the worst when they had you do the scan over. When you were told about this, what went through your mind? I mean, in terms of, you seem very positive right now.
Yeah.
Was it like that from the moment they told you, or did it take some
Yeah.
time to get over it?
Well, immediately, I don't know if you guys know this, but everything's a joke to me. So immediately, that's just how I deal with trauma, anyways. So I was just cracking jokes. I'm like, oh, I knew there's something wrong with me. It was like and just doing whatever I can. I'm like, is that it? So it's just different things. But as soon as I was done making the jokes, I was just like, it's treatable. Cool. It's like in my head, like the little kid in me is like, no, you want this now. You spent all this time and cut weight. You want this now. It's like, and then I think about it, I'm going, okay, I just got to be patient. That's all I have to do. I have to be patient. Doctor's going to figure this out. We're going to have this stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I'm thinking, I hope this thing's not limiting anything, because if it's limiting anything and then we get this figured out, whatever limits I had, I'm like, ugh. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm already a problem. So hopefully it doesn't limit too much stuff and I don't come back a superhero.
Yeah. And you mentioned Vince Murdoch. You plan on connecting with him? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir. So he reached out the other day. I reached back, and I know he's busy training and everything. So just getting a point. I believe he has my number. So whether it's a call, whether it's me flying out there because I'm gonna have all the time in the world until I get the surgery, whatever it is I'm just any information he can give, I'll be grateful for. So it's just more about learning and understanding and what kind of steps he took and what I should do off that. Pretty much is just trying to get information from him.
And how much does that mentally kind of help you out a little bit, that you know that somebody else has gone through it and they were able to fight again and they got through it, and somebody's willing to be able to share those experiences with you? How key do you think that is going forward?
Um, it's key, but I'm an idiot. I would have believed I can push through this no matter what. They could have told me I'm going to lose 3 arms, and I would have been like, cool. Can I fight after that? So, um, just wrapping my head around it. I don't think anything was going if unless they told me like I can never fight again. I don't think anything was going to tell me no in my head. It's like, cool, we can fight again. Cool, it's treatable. Cool. It's like even if I'm walking into the unknown, I would have the positivity I still have today. It just this helps even more. So it's just puts an extra layer on me being I got not insecure, but like a little off by it. So it does help a lot, little, but it wouldn't have changed my thinking too much around it.
And you had never had, from what Maurice told me, you had never had an MRI before this, right?
No, I don't even go to the doctors.
Yeah.
They're gonna search my body and say, "Hey, dude, this is messed up. This is messed up. How are you doing this?" I'm gonna be like, "Dude, I think if you just act like nothing's wrong, then everything's okay."
Do you think that that's like in a profession where you get punches to the head? Are you surprised that more state commissions don't require this, or do you get where, would that be a hassle for fighters? I guess from your perspective now, because I think that was something people were bringing up, was like he's fought 7 times before in 3 or 4 different states and he's never had to do this. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
Um, Shit's not cheap, so it's very hard, especially for people that are up and coming when it comes to promotions. It's very hard to go, okay, every fighter that we have, whether they're a draw or whether they're not, we have to make sure that their medicals are put up. So at the end of it, they're probably making even right now, and if they started putting more money in the medicals, they'd be going down. It's like um, the UFC is the one of the best, not if the best organization when it comes to fighting, anyways. And they're bringing the money, so they're using that to make sure that their fighters can keep fighting. I don't think other promotions have that privilege.
No, I totally agree there, man. Kind of crazy. Like you mentioned that you feel blessed about this whole thing. And the thing that keeps coming into my mind is like how many things had to fall in line for you to figure this out and for it to potentially prevent anything bad from happening. Have you thought about that at all, like a lot? Like
Yeah.
If Sean Brady didn't get hurt, if the UFC didn't call you, if they hadn't have done the brain scan, like this is a pretty crazy domino
Oh,
effect here,
it,
man.
it goes back even past that because it goes if LFA because it was hard for us to find a fight anyways. So it goes if LFA doesn't call me and I don't go through the cage, I don't get most of the eyes I have because that went viral. I know it's like maybe the UFC seen me before, but that moment going viral through the cage, uh, that is probably where it all started when they go, okay, well, it's about his time. Even though I'm 6-0, 7-0, whatever, 7 finishes, it's like that puts it on. They start talking, and then to, for me to have to go through the cage perfectly, because that cage was locked. They check it, and it happened to be just a fluke as me going through the cage. So if that doesn't happen, which is, who knows, one in a million again, and then going up to this, Brady has to pull out because of injury. Cool. They call me immediately. I didn't even know who I was fighting. I just said yes. I was like, oh, I have an opportunity. Absolutely. It's like, I'm gonna do whatever I can. It's like, win, lose, draw. That's not here. I'm here to get better. I'm here to push people. Let's see what he got. So I say yes. I start losing weight. They get down. They check. They're like, hey, coach is like, where your weight's at? I'm like, I'm not talking to you about weight. You're not gonna like where my weight's at. So then even that, so coaches didn't decline it because that's all my coach was really worried about, is making sure that my weight was where it's at, because we didn't want to miss it. So I'm like, I'll make weight. It's like, don't even worry about that. So then we start going. It's like going through all of that. It's insane to look back on life and go, how else would they have found this? It's like, let's say I took football career. Okay, maybe I get an MRI, but do I need one? I don't know. Let's say I go back to school and stay in school and study. It's like, they're not finding that sucker until I go to the hospital. And I'm not, there would have been no reason for me. It's like, I don't have health insurance. There would have been no reason for me to go to the hospital. So I'm like, this is one of the only paths that I could have taken where they find this early. It's like, if I took another path in however many different lives I have, if I took a different path, they were finding this when I'm 40 and it's too late and I've already seized up. So it's very, very weird, because I don't know if you guys know this, but when I was fighting up until the Tracy Reeder fight, after it, I didn't even want to fight anymore. I don't like hurting people. So it's like, I just got to a point where I'm fucking good. That's all that matters. If these guys signed up, that means they signed up. I don't have to worry about them getting hurt. But Tracy Reeder fight was the last fight I thought about the other person. Like, I'm like, oh, I don't want to hurt them. That's the last fight I thought, because I'm like, oh, I can't do this. It's like, these people are too good for me. So it's like doing that and going through just different life problems. I'm like, okay, is this really what I want to do? So even then, I was still 50-50 when it comes to just fighting in general. So let's say if I quit there, bad. Let's say if I don't get the LFA fight, I don't even get the UFC fight. So it's there's so many things that had to line up for this not to be called fate, destiny, whatever you want to call it, for me not to be great. It's just, I won't say it's perfect, but it's perfect. Everything happened the way it needed to for me to get this thing figured out. Because at 30, it could have progressed to a point to where it's too much. At 40, who knows how long it progressed, and then every day it just keeps progressing. So it's uh, I'm blessed. That's really all I can say, and I'm excited. I'm happy.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely incredible. Had they told you exactly, like when you just said it would have been too much, what would have happened if they didn't detect this? Is there some sort of likely thing? Is it a clotting issue, right?
Yeah, it's a clotting issue, but the blood vessels in my brain are just really, really tight. So it's an oxygen issue. That's why I'm like, damn. Okay, if it's an oxygen or blood flowing through my brain, or one side of my brain, I believe. Um, Other people have had both, but one side of my brain, we don't know which one. I don't know which one. The doctors do. I don't know which one it is, but one side of my brain gets less oxygen or blood flow through it compared to the other one, and then the other side of my brain's working overtime to keep my other side hitting baseline. Um, so it's like it's an oxygen, um, not deficiency, but blood flow deficiency level on my sides of the brain. That's what I was talking about earlier. It's like, what happens when I get full oxygen to both sides of my brain? I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned a surgery. I'm assuming you got that on the books yet, or is that still being figured out?
Nope, we're still waiting for Stanford to get back with us, which is like, okay, well, at least I'm pretty
Happens.
positive.
So no surgery on the books as of now.
As of right now, no, but I also know Maurice and them are out in Las Vegas because they have a fighter, so I know he's busy. I know Stanford doctors are busy, so we're just pretty much just me waiting for hey, dude, you're getting shipped off and you're gonna become a lab rat for a little bit. Um, so no, we don't know yet, or at least I don't. Maybe they do.
How confident are you that you will fight again? You seem very positive. We've seen it with Vince before. I guess how determined are you going forward?
Oh, I'm hard headed. That's with everything. I don't give up. I have a problem, and people are, oh, that's a good thing. It's like, no, I don't give up in anything. That's a problem. So we will see. It's not the way I go. I don't know how to give up. That's just how my brain is.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm super happy that the blessing in disguise did come through, even though I'm sure it's a disappointment that you didn't get
Yeah.
to get in there. As of now, you had mentioned before we hopped on recording that USADA came and paid you first visit right this morning, first out of
Yes, sir.
competition testing. So that means as of now you're still on the roster,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Have you talked to the UFC at all about like what their plans are for you? Like, will you remain there until you figure this out, or?
No, I haven't talked to them. They know. It's like I'll do whatever's necessary. I said this is where my goal's been for so long, but my goal is to be the best version of me. And whether the UFC knocks me down and I have to go and tear up LFA or CCFC or Fight Fury, whatever it is, and until I'm invited back, I'll also do that. I'm just not one to give up when it comes to things in general. It's like life's fucking tried to beat me up for so long. I just kind of get used to taking my bumps and roll with it. So if the UFC happens to keep me on, beautiful. If the UFC is like, hey, we got to let you go, beautiful. But I think as of right now, I think they're just making sure that I'm not a druggie or a cheater. And then once they figure that out, then they'll either keep me on or not. But I'm staying hopeful, but I'm also I know how realistic it is. And I know everybody and their mother wants to get in the UFC. And I know the UFC is the biggest organization in the world. So they don't want any delays. And I wouldn't want to be the one to delay them. But the moment I can get in a fight, we're scheduling it immediately.
And I remember one of the things from when I interviewed Vince a bunch of times was that the surgery itself cost him a pretty penny. And I know he had a GoFundMe and stuff. Um, is there any sort of financial stuff that you hope the UFC pitches into? Are you guys going to try to do some sort of fundraiser for you? Or like, is there anything planned like that? Is there any way people can donate to the cause or just donate to this research about this thing or anything positive that can come out of them watching this interview that they can assist with?
Um, I hate asking for help, so I won't do that. But I don't know. We haven't figured that. That's if anything's going to cause me stress, it's going to be that. Um, so we'll figure it out. I've always have, so there's no need to think I'm not going to now. If the UFC helps out, God bless them. If I have to figure this out, then I will. We haven't had anything together as of like a GoFundMe or anything. I do know I have some uh, seminars that my head coach Dave Freetag is getting ready. He contacted me this morning just to help. Um, I probably should get some sort of fundraiser together. Otherwise, I'm gonna be shitting bricks for a while.
Yeah. Um, on the flip side, last question, kind of. Let's like end on a positive note here. For people that might be dealing with something surprising on the health side, they get some sort of news. You have handled this, from what I've seen, so well, and you said it's just kind of in your personality. But I guess what is it that you're able to tap into when you get news like this that is changing your life for the time being, to not get down on yourself?
Um, just in general, I don't really think too much about myself. I get my happiness, if you would call it, from helping other people. So even now, I'm still not even thinking about myself. I just get to a point where what else can I do for others around me? And if this is supposed to be my last day on this planet, I know that I've done it trying to help the people I love. So it's just getting to a point where I just don't think about myself and I just think about what I can do for the people around me compared to I know the type of mindset I would get into if I start thinking about, oh, why did this happen to me or why this. Um, I we don't know why, so there's no reason trying to spin and confuse my head. It just gets to a point where I'd rather forget about me for a second and just do what I can. If that's getting better, beautiful. If that's getting more money for my family, beautiful. If that's trying to help people get better and help people get more technical, beautiful. It's just I try not to think about me. I don't know if that will help or answer your question, but that's just how my brain is when it comes to just things in general.
Well, Josiah, I really appreciate the time, man. Good luck with everything. Rooting for you. I know you'll be back in there eventually. So everybody can follow you on Instagram. Kind of follow this journey. I'm assuming a little bit.
Yeah, please do. It's like as soon as we get any information, it's going to be on there as soon as I know. So ASAP. But yeah, my Instagram is Josiah Harrell MMA if they want to follow me. It's a wild ride, and just for storybooks in general, uh, I may have to start getting some sort of journal together and start writing things down. We got to make a story out of this, especially whenever I'm at the top with the UFC belt around my waist, 55, maybe 70, and at the time, who knows? They might bring in the cruiserweight class, 165, and I have 3 belts around me.
Can't wait to see it all play out, man. Good luck with everything.
Thank you, sir.